Jenny. I'll be at night. Already 12? I always say, we already hit September, the year's over. That's so quickly. So quickly. He does get vacation. That's up there. The time? No. Oh, no. Again? Still got a game.
Can you hear me? Yes, we can.
Yes. Hey, Rose.
Okay, hey.
Think we're ready to start? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Notice of a public meeting of the Audit and Oversight Committee meeting, August 18, 2023. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Open Meetings Act, this is hereby given that a regular meeting of the Audit and Oversight Committee of the City of Brownsville will be conducted on August 18, 2023 at 12:15 p.m. at the City Commission Chambers located on the second floor of City Hall Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Texas. Members of the public who submitted a public comment form will be permitted to offer public comments as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting. The recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. It is now 12:16. You may call the meeting to order.
Sure, being that we have a quorum, I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Next, we have the public comment period. We have Mr. Zeke Silva.
Welcome, Mr. Silva. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioner, board members, staff. Thank you all for being here. I know it's hot and Friday and everything, and so we all take time, and I take your time very valuable. As I know you guys know that we're all busy. I just want to express that this audit committee, I think for the first time that I've shown interest in it, not because of the people that are behind the desk, but because of the person that's doing the audits and the way they've done it. I think there's a lot of transparency. I think that's something the city has needed for a long, long time. I think that when you have somebody that's experienced, that's not politically motivated or politically intimidated or politically influenced as to how audits should be done, who gets done and who doesn't get done. I think the transparency helps a lot for investors that are going to come in the future, outside and inside investors that know that audits are going to be done with a neutral way and not favoring one over the other. Gives a sense of assurance that the city is going forward. Because when audits are done correctly and they're being done the way they should be done, and that is down to the nitty gritty, and as some of you have told me, let the axe fall where it should fall. That's the way it should be. If people are doing things that they shouldn't, then those people should not be with the city anymore. And if they done something illegally, well, then the law should take over. And it's up to you all to give that authority to the auditor to be able to do that. Because if the city of Bronzeville is going to grow, it needs to grow starting now and in the right way. And that is exposing if there's any corruption and not just put a Band-Aid over it, but cut it through the weeds. As they say, cut the snake from the head and then it shouldn't bite you anymore. But we've been so much that we're immune to, we don't need any antidote because we've been bitten so many times that there's no trust. And I think trust is a factor, and starting with the audit committee and the transparency, and thank God that we finally have somebody that doesn't care if somebody's feelings get hurt. It's just black and white. And that's what we need. We don't need no gray areas. We need somebody painting the skies pink and thinking that we're okay when we're not. So I want to thank you guys. I think that you guys are very experienced and very people of integrity. And that's what we need, people of integrity to the city to move forward. So thank you for your time.
That's kudos for you. So.
Item 3, we have items for individual consideration, discussion, and possible action. Item 3A, approval of the minutes for the following Audit and Oversight Committee meeting for July 21, 2023 regular meeting.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
All right, we have a
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Next, we have item 3B, City Auditor's Office update on welcoming new members, the budget, ongoing audits, follow-up audits, review of bylaws, fraud reporting, and other items of interest related to the Office of the City Auditor.
Good morning, or good afternoon. First of all, we'd like to welcome our new members. Welcome Commissioner Roy De Los Santos, and welcome Mr. Gerardo Garcia. It's good to have you on the board with the Audit and Oversight Committee. Afterwards, we actually brought some snacks from ourselves, not the city budget, that we'll get out of the refrigerator after the meeting as soon as business is done. I apologize.
Damn, I
Ms.
missed
Rose.
the wrong meeting.
You missed the wrong one. Maybe somebody can drop you some off. Okay, so item B2 is Office of the City Auditor proposed budget. On my left-hand side of when I'm looking at it, that's the budget that we proposed, that we put into ClearGov and that we asked for. We met with Mr. Delmore. I believe I shared this with you last time, and Ms. Zolisi, but after Ms. Helen came back, we met personally. I met personally with her and discussed our concerns. She took time out of her schedule to do that. And we were able to get the additional amount for the clerical salary, thankfully. We were told that the request for the software may come out of the next budget amendment.
The mid-year,
Possibly.
yeah, that's something they're
Mid-year.
going to look at.
So I was a little bit taken aback when the proposed budget posted online, and that's what's on the right-hand side. The one on the right-hand side there is from the actual proposed budget that they published July the 28th on the city website. So we went back and discussed with them the fact that since we've taken over the committee meetings and the minutes and scheduling, also we needed the lunches. This is a lunch meeting. And they did say that they would adjust that. It just hasn't been updated in ClearGov yet. Daniela checked that this morning.
You know, just as a comment, I did reiterate to our management that an investment in our audit department will have paid dividends eventually, right? I think that's the whole idea, right?
Yes.
We uncover inefficiencies, we uncover waste, and it's, I think there is an ROI there, and just to not look at the sticker shock or the, you know, where to cut, I think this is a bad place to not invest. So I did say that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, because that's, you're our advocate.
Yeah.
With them for that. So appreciate it. You have to forgive me. I'm trying to advance the slide and it's not advancing. Oh. All right. Technical difficulty, sorry. I apologize. Please assist. I'm not pointing it just right. I'm not holding my mouth right. Guys.
There you go.
Oh, back up. There we go. Okay, yes. Okay, so ongoing audits. We have the Parks and Recreation audit we discussed before. It's still in the planning phase. Mr. Jose Luis sent an internal control questionnaire. Of course, we had Games of Texas, so that intervened. We are still waiting on feedback. We're going to have to actually schedule in time to go out and speak with them to get a little clarification on some of their answers. The second item you're going to see here is the BCIC audit. We actually moved it up and opened it August 3rd because of multiple questions about it, because it deals with Chapter 38 and ethics. So we want to go in and take a look at that and compare and get a report so that we can clear the air about the situation. You know, what happened, was that what was supposed to happen? And we've sent a document request already. Ms. Pena has been very helpful providing documentation to us. We just recently shared an internal control questionnaire. This will replace the PD property and evidence audit. That will be moved to slot number 3. And I shared a link here for the public because we're also going to share these PowerPoints on the website and with the minutes. Our reports can be found at this hyperlink at the bottom of the page here. For follow-up audits, we're currently working on the review of land acquisition by GBIC. We have some progress made. I spoke with Mr. Jerry over there, and he said they've been really busy bringing the new CEO on board, but they have had at least one land deal. They have used the checklist, and I'm pending documentation to review for that follow-up. Same with the financial disclosures and ethics review, getting ready to do the third follow-up August 24th. I corresponded with Ms. Yoli this morning, and she has some more of the personal financial statements for me to pick up after the meeting here. In the afternoon, I'm going to stop by City Plaza. The others are still expected to be done after the September 30th follow-up date there for petty cash and change fund. As I mentioned before, CFO, they had started their own audits of the cash counts, if you will, like a pop-up surprise cash count. So we're going to go in and take a look at those too and review their evidence. We already have some, but we couldn't close everything, and the date was for September 30th. So we're going to wait for that for the next report. controlled asset inventory. There's movement going on there because we were contacted for our asset inventory, city's call center and P-card audits. Next, thanks to the city attorney, Mr. Trevino, for sharing the bylaws document in the city charter and SharePoint for you all. As a reminder, we put our comments in for consideration. Some of our comments are based on the standards and the standards changing. Others are there that relate to the change or to things that were not quite in line with the ordinance. If you have any comments, just let us know. You can comment through the SharePoint, through email.
Has the SharePoint been shared with us?
I believe so.
Right, just want to,
We can share it again.
I would share it again with the new members as well so that they can take a look.
Certainly, certainly. We don't have any official fraud reports at this time. However, we do still have the fraud hotline. We are still planning an outreach. We, under the suggestion of Mr. Orozco, we made sure we went and discussed with EA. We opened a ticket up because we had concerns about filling it out because it looked like you had to sign in to the portal to actually file a complaint. And then they wanted your name and they wanted your phone number. We don't want people to feel that they have to put that in there. So we filed the ticket, we opened the ticket, and they went in and they, at the bottom of the screen here, what you're gonna see is you don't have to fill in your name anymore. It actually like says on the screen when you're there that it's optional, that you don't have to fill it in. But we did have an issue where we came up with behind the scenes data, the IP addresses are still tracked. So anyone in EA could potentially check the IP address. They know who has issued what laptop, if it's a city employee, let's say, or what computer they're working from. So they could identify that person. City attorney said that they have an agreement that we may be able to use to have them sign, that they had people sign for their own purposes. And I'd like to move forward with that if that's okay with you. That way we assure anonymity and we assure that there won't be any retribution or any fear of retribution from them.
What is it that the form will do?
What's that?
The form that you mentioned?
This is the report improper activities button, which is, or report wrongdoing, report potential fraud.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I apologize. That I understood. When we said that the problem with this is that the IP addresses are still being tracked, and then you mentioned a form, and I think, was that a solution to the problem?
We hope so. It's a confidentiality agreement that they would sign.
And who would sign that?
Everyone in enterprise applications that's working on behind the scenes that might be able to identify these people. It's the best solution we could come up with.
I like the idea of them signing the form. I think we probably need to go a step further and maybe put something in policy or procedure or even in ordinance, because I want to make sure that those employees are covered. If another department head or if one of their superiors came to them and said, I want you to investigate this, and they know they shouldn't be because they signed that, but they feel conflicted because, well, now I've got an order from my boss, what do I do?
Yes.
I want to make sure there's language to give them protection, that they can't be compelled, and that it wouldn't be violating an order because they need to comply with the confidentiality agreement.
Do we have a whistleblower policy in place?
Yes,
Right.
and there, in the employee handbook, there's a whistleblower policy, and that would fall under the Whistleblower Act.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be compelled to be able to have to do that.
Yeah. Some, as Jose Luis just mentioned to me, we actually had shared with us some sites. Other cities use vendors, external vendors, to run their reporting system so that they can assure anonymity, right? They can definitely say they have no interest in looking up which employee did what. And there are a couple of examples that were shared with us by the Office of the City Attorney that we could share with you if you'd like to see them. But again, that's a software cost.
Right. And just for my knowledge, enterprise applications, they're an internal department of the city?
Yes, they're under the city manager.
Oh,
They are.
okay.
Yeah, they're our internet or our technology, information technology people. So,
You mentioned, or does this fall under, since the reporting like 546 help or anything else, does any of this go through the call center?
it could possibly go through the call center. We have a direct line that's supposed to come directly to us.
I just want to verify, other than EA, is there anybody else in the city that could potentially see those IP addresses? That doesn't fall under that confidentiality agreement?
Mr. McCoy?
No? Okay,
No.
very good.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so other items. This is kind of my catch-all for the end of what's going on with us. We still expect our move back downtown to 1045 East Washington to be towards the end of September. We still have tentative plans to sit with individual staff members in finance to determine how they're using Logos for the ERP system, what reports they use regularly. We were able to get an updated organization chart the 14th. So I will work on scheduling with them as soon as possible, and I will be starting at the top down. So I apologize for any time that takes, but I think it's very important that that is documented so that we have it, so that when we go to do audits, we can pull our own information, pull our own reports compared to the reports that they may give us, and also pull our own documentation. That's very important. Now we come to the most difficult part of staffing changes. We've already welcomed our new members. Mr. Jose Luis Silva has a better opportunity with the City of Mission, so he is going to be leaving us. This is his last day with us today. We are still friends, I hope. So, right. If you'd like to say anything, you're welcome to.
See, well, most of all, my gratitude. Thank you so much for your trust, for your confidence on my abilities to help the city of Brownsville to move forward. I really regret I had a family situation and also, again, the opportunity to work closer from home. Actually, it's just a few blocks away from where I am right now in Mission. So that's what it made me take this opportunity. One thing I can tell you, it has been a great experience to working with these professional auditors there. My goodness, top of the line. Really, is something that I really want to miss. And then again, I mean, my gratitude to you all for the trust, for the confidence that you gave me. And what else can I say? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for your time here and contributing to our organization.
Thank
I
you.
wish you the best.
Yeah, I thank you as well, because he did contribute from the very beginning, even though he had to catch up with all the required trainings and stuff. He did so with grace, and he added to us, gave us templates that we can work with and use for the future. Like for our entrance conference that I shared before, for opening up, that's perfect. It helps explain it to the auditee. And then I also have the very difficult question to pose to you. I also have personal issues going on in my life, in my personal life. So I need to ask for your permission to work remotely. Not immediately. It would take a little bit of time for me to get things in order. And I'm really torn about it, but if you'd like to discuss it further, we can discuss it at another time. If you'd like to discuss it after the meeting. I didn't want to bring my personal issue to the public, but I did want to ask for your permission, and you don't have to decide at this moment, but I would appreciate your consideration for allowing me to work remote, at least for a period of time.
Yeah, just personally, I don't have a problem with it. I think we always try to be flexible. We know stuff happens in people's lives where, if you can still be effective and still get the job done, I don't think there's a problem at all being able to work with you or anyone on your team.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate
I
that.
agree. I could not agree more. I trust your judgment, and I think we know you well enough to know that you will do your very best. So good luck, and I trust your work I know your work will continue. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
You've been a professional since we started working, and the only thing I'd ask if you do that is that if you ever feel like you can't do the job remotely, that you let us know, and I know you will because you're a
Certainly.
pro. But yeah, life happens.
Certainly, I appreciate that. That's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, there's our contact information.
Item 4, we have future agenda items.
I would say the only item that I would like to talk about is scheduling, whether this time works for the new board members, whether it's, in consideration with the expense for lunch and things like that, is it worth looking at moving the meeting time? I know Rose, originally, we had this time because it fit your schedule best, but I don't know if things have changed, whether, I'm just putting it out there just as a discussion.
Right. I'm no longer working at the clinic, so it doesn't have to be at this time for me.
So that's something we can review, as we move forward. Doesn't have to be decided today.
Okay. All right. You're the chairman. You let us know.
Sure.
Thank
And
you.
I know you guys have a lot on your plate already, and now you're going to be down a man. But one of the things I think we need to do, because I noticed this when we had the appointments at the last commission meeting, is the data on this board was incomplete. And in
Yes.
going back and looking at what I can find, I don't even think it's valid. Because I know that the three predecessors here have been here since 2019.
Yeah.
And I think it was October of 2019 that you guys were sworn in. But I know the dates were like all over the place for some of you and blank for others. And in consideration of, we're doing the bylaw review already, I'd like us to get that cleaned up so that whenever it comes to the commission, the dates and everything are accurate. And I'll help where I can. I've been going through minutes from 2019 and 2021 and I can't find it.
We have as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we had the same problem. So I
Yeah,
agree.
and just to give you some background, this is the best spot we've ever been at as a committee. I think starting off, it was a bumpy road, right, where we had some turnover, and then this committee wasn't really working for a while. And we finally brought on new staff that's been doing a great job. So I think just to let you know that it wasn't a consistent working committee during that time, but it's I think it's important for continuity that we've had these three members here that have helped. guide the ship.
What we may want to do then, because I did see like reviewing bylaws is something that's in order, we may want to consider that because without a change in bylaws, I think the three of you guys would be termed out this October.
Yes.
And I don't know that we want
Right.
to make that big of a change this early on.
And that's one thing, maybe on an executive session, because we have that bylaw conversation. When we wrote those bylaws, we had a whole different perception of how this all was going to work. So maybe it'd be nice if we could be under an executive session to discuss, this is the optimal way now that we know how things work, now that we have an auditor, all of that, and we can have a little bit more of a free flowing discussion.
Yeah, 'cause I think there's a lot to be said for the value of the experience on the committee and keeping that if it's absolutely working well.
Right.
And if the majority of the commission feels like they've got the confidence, let's keep this team together.
Yeah.
And I don't want us to run the risk of having to make changes this fall.
I don't have any problem with any of that, except that there are important things that she is proceeding with to audit, and I wouldn't want to get bogged down in details of bylaws at the expense of the work that she needs to do. That doesn't mean you ignore it, but it means, pace it so that the work is not hindered by it.
Yeah, and I think if we discuss that behind doors, we could probably help you with most of what needs
Yeah.
to be done along with legal,
With legal,
changing
yeah.
those documents. But yeah, we could put that as an agenda item on the next one. So everyone get a chance to see the bylaws this coming next 30 days. We could all show up with our comments and go back and forth on what we need to do.
Yeah, because I think the actual ordinance, all it says is that the commission sets the terms. So the bylaws is where it actually was spelled out what the terms would be. So that's actually a pretty minor change. So, but thank you.
Okay, the final item on the agenda is adjournment.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion
Second?
and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, meeting adjourned.
It's 12:41, the meeting has ended.
I know.
You're gonna find that.
My board meetings used to be on the island.
Sure.